Understanding Incoterms. The notion of value determination is closely linked to the identification of the Incoterms used. In fact, it is the knowledge of the delivery conditions Incoterms, international commercial terms mentioned on the invoice that will determine the share of the transport costs of the goods to be included in the customs value. The Incoterms in use are grouped into 4 families. 1. Family E. It includes only one Incoterm. Ex Works. In this case, the goods are invoiced ex works and the invoice must mention the location of the factory. Ex work. Invoicing means that all costs incurred after the goods have left the supplier's factory are borne by the buyer, and must therefore be included in the value, to be declared for customs purposes. 2. Family F. It includes 3 Incoterms. Free Carrier FCA. This invoicing means that the supplier undertakes to transport the goods to an agreed place indicated in the invoice, to an appointed carrier, who will ensure the continuation of the transport of the goods. Free Alongside Ship FAS. This method of invoicing means that the amount mentioned in the invoice includes the price of the goods themselves as well as the costs of transporting the goods from the place of production to the port of shipment. In this case, the invoice must indicate the agreed port of shipment. This invoicing is only valid for goods transported by sea. Free On Board FOB. Means that the costs of placing on board the carrier vessel are also borne by the supplier, and are therefore included in the price mentioned. Compared to the previous invoicing method, this Incoterm means that the costs of placing on board the carrier vessel are also borne by the supplier, and are therefore included in the price mentioned in the invoice, which must indicate the agreed port of shipment. This invoicing is only valid for goods transported by sea, and it is one of the most widely used Incoterms in international trade operations. 3. Family C. It includes 4 Incoterms. Cost and Freight CFR. Compared to the previous invoicing method, this Incoterm means that the maritime transport costs are also borne by the supplier, and are therefore included in the price mentioned in the invoice, which must indicate the agreed port of destination. This invoicing is only valid for goods transported by sea. It is also one of the most widely used Incoterms in international trade operations. Cost, Insurance and Freight CIF. This Incoterm means that the amount invoiced includes the selling price of the goods, their transport and placing on board the carrier vessel, the amount of freight and the cost of insuring the goods to the agreed port of destination to be indicated on the invoice. Compared to the previous invoicing method, this Incoterm therefore means that the insurance costs to cover the goods during maritime transport are also borne by the supplier, and are therefore included in the price mentioned in the invoice. Carriage paid to CPT. Compared to the previous invoicing method, this Incoterm means that the supplier also bears the cost of transporting the goods to an agreed destination mentioned in the invoice. This invoicing is valid regardless of the mode of transport used, and this is easily understood since the delivery of the goods to the agreed place of delivery will necessarily require the use of several modes of transport. Carriage and insurance paid to QCIP. Compared to the previous one, this Incoterm covers the same delivery conditions, except that there is also insurance at the expense of the supplier during the entire delivery of the goods. This Incoterm covers also insurance at the expense of the supplier during the entire delivery of the goods. 4. Family D. It includes 5 Incoterms. Delivered at Frontier DAF. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods, cleared for export, to the buyer at the named place of delivery at the frontier. However, he is not responsible for clearing the goods through customs for import into country of destination. Delivered ex-ship, DE. The seller is responsible for making the goods available to the buyer on board the ship not customs cleared at the port of destination, as well as bearing the costs and risk in brining the goods there. This is both a multimodal and sea freight Incoterm. The last leg of the journey must be a sea leg. Delivered X key, DEQ. The seller is responsible for making the goods available to the buyer on the quay at the port of destination not cleared through customs, bearing all costs and risks in bringing goods there. This is both a multimodal and sea freight Incoterm. The last leg of the journey must be a sea leg. Delivered Duty Unpaid, DDU. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods to the named place of receipt. However, the seller is not required to pay duties, taxes or any other official charges payable upon importation. Those costs are for the buyer. Delivered Duty Paid, DDP. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods to the named place of destination having cleared them for import into the country of destination. This term represents the maximum obligation for the seller.